Hello, everybody. Welcome to our new episode of the FTR podcast. Thanks for tuning in once again. 10th episode. Should we call it a milestone? It is a milestone.
New milestone.
Ooh, 10 episodes.
Yippee!
Right, so before we start, we'd like to ask you to like our video, subscribe,
Notifications.
turn on the
Share it with as many people as you can. Because
That will-
before you even watch it, it's going to be good. Let's be real. You know.
But it will help us, and it will help you as well to, be notified when a new episode comes in. Usually it's every Friday at 9 a.m. So
And
make
you're
sure
able to
watch it.
discuss our opinions with other people who you know, whether you think we're completely incorrect or whether we're absolute geniuses of football.
Probably the latter, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
But today, once again, we will be talking about how the week went in the Premier League. It was an interesting week, very, very interesting. Just so you know, we're recording at the same time that the Ballon d'Or is happening. So there is the live stream in front of us. So we might announce live who has won the Ballon d'Or. But
It seems pretty set at the moment that it's
Yeah.
going to be Rodri. So there's probably no surprises there.
no, there's no surprises. But the surprise will be that Vinicius Junior wins it, and he's not there.
That would be a huge surprise, to be fair. It'd be quite funny.
That would be such a setback for Real Madrid and all the fans. Imagine them would just be slagging
It'd be
the team.
hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Anyway,
Do you reckon they would change it? If the person winning it didn't turn up, do you reckon they would just be like, all right, sound, we're just going to give it to
no,
somebody
they
else?
wouldn't. They wouldn't change it.
I'd be tempted to. If I was running
Yeah, but
like a
you're not.
show, and let's be real, if you're running an awards event and somebody throws the toys out the pram because they think they're not going to win it because they've heard it from some people, and they're the person who's going to be winning it, I'd be there like, well, you know what? Screw you. I'm giving it to the other
But
geezer.
to be honest, the whole team not turning up, not even the manager.
It's bad.
I don't think that they've heard it from the mum of the player. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I
going to
agree
be a
with
very
you.
reliable source.
It's clearly extremely reliable because both Vinny and all the people close to him have heard it. Everyone else is around it too. So there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Anyway, yeah, as we said, this week has been interesting. Positively, negatively.
Negatively,
I'll be honest, we're not going to hear
rose-tinted glasses. There's not going to be another rant.
There's not going to be another rant, but like this video if you liked last week's rant, because I had so much fun editing it, actually.
I just despise, so much in football at the moment. It seems, I just feel like I'm falling out of love with it a bit. I'm not going to lie to you. It's just...
You're not falling out of love with the football, with the game. It's just...
that ruins it.
Yeah, it ruins it, but it's still... Like, you have hope that something is going to change.
It's like saying you like family gatherings, but your uncle gives you weird massages. You know what I mean? Like, it leaves a sour taste in your mouth. It's true, though, isn't it? Like, if it's like, oh, that's really awkward, though. Like, everything else was nice, apart from,
That was the best analogy you could have ever given me in my entire life. Like,
but it's true, though. It's just, it leaves such a sour mouth in the matches, because it's like, if there wasn't, yeah, you'd still get whinging, complaining, but it'd be about your team. Nowadays, it feels like when you're a top team, you can't really complain much about your team because they win most weeks. We don't complain. Well, some idiotic fans do complain about the team.
That's what I'm saying.
But
And Manchester United, but they've had
all the big teams have deluded fans in their fan base, not for the good, like me, where I'm like, oh, we're the best, you know what I mean?
They're self-aware, yeah. Let's delve into these week's matches. Should we start with Brighton Wolves?
Yeah, I agree.
I was really impressed with Wolves'
Comeback.
performance. Yeah. Wait, they scored
They're
in how many minutes?
Did you see the counter attack?
Like 5
which
minutes.
Did you see the counter attack which they got? I'm sorry, right? I can't remember which Brighton player it was. You have to be clinical there. It's a 4 against 2. No, it's a 4 against 1. Sorry. You have to just pass it, and you pass it to the man closest to the Wolves player. Therefore, they get the ball and they turn it around. You cannot do that because when you got 4 players up top, you have to have a certain awareness of 4 players up top. That means you've got players missing in other positions too. So you have to make sure that pass is accurate. Even if you take the shot, at least that means, hey, we're all back for the defence. And it's just, it was really poor. But yeah, again, mad respect for Gary O'Neill. I think he's such a good manager.
Yeah, exactly. And now, I don't know if this is going to give Wolves hopes to kind of have a comeback and stay in the league, but it definitely shows great mentality from the whole team and the manager as well. Like, I mean, 5 minutes, 2 goals, they've been suffering the whole match, and then boom, 2 goals out of nowhere.
It's huge. It's huge. Mentality,
huge, yeah.
you can see it's there from both the manager and the players of, hey, at any moment we can get a chance and we have to capitalise. I mean, realistically, if you're 2-0 down and it's like, what time was it? Was it like 80th minute?
88th minute.
So 88th minute, you're 2-1 down. A lot of players would just be like, oh, screw it, man. There's no point. There's no point. Except from a lot of teams like what's it called? I'm trying to think of it. Like your Man United, stuff like that. Like even Chelsea last season, you wouldn't have really seen that with them. So I'm very happy.
But what reminded me that of is when they played against Brentford. Was it Brentford that they lost 5-3 a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. And even at the last minute, they still kept scoring. Like, you know, they scored the 3rd goal. It shows how they are not being defeated mentally. It's just amazing. And kind of like, I think that they're self-aware that they don't have the best players. But
they're in a very difficult circumstance because the players that are there, you can't really build on anything when you can't really spend.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're in a very difficult circumstance, but he's doing a great job.
Cunha won the player of the match. I mean,
understandably.
well deserved, like scoring a 93rd minute. Why can I not speak today?
Equaliser,
yeah.
It's huge for the club because they're at the bottom end of the table, understandably so, right? But it means that they're gaining some points, and sometimes when you're in that relegation scrap, 1 point makes a difference. Like now, they are 19th. They were 20th on goal difference, and now they've moved up 1 place. And that 1 place makes a huge difference because at the end of the season, we've seen it where 1 game, 1 point makes a huge impact on the relegation battle.
Yeah.
So they need to make sure they're picking up points wherever they can because they are in a relegation battle. That's the truth of the situation. Yeah. So they need to be on it, which against a team like Brighton, that's a superb result.
Yeah. They still have a 13 goal difference, which is
negative
the same as negative 13, sorry. Which, you know, equalises the one with Southampton, but still 1 more point. And it's only the 8th or 9th match of the season, so there's still a lot. So, yeah, quite happy with what that was. And Brighton have been playing very well. It's just that error that you mentioned, kind of like gave. I don't know what happened to them, and they just like kind of like, you know, got a bit confused.
It's late on in a match. It's easy to get
Threw them
stunned.
off.
You know what I mean? Brighton, you know, they're a very good team. They're not a huge team or anything like that. So you watch them play, moments like that, it's easy to get a bit shell shocked. You're there, and you're like,
yeah.
Whoa, crap! There's an opportunity here to get screwed over massively, and that's unfortunately for them what happened to him. But they're a good team, and for a team like Brighton, these sort of things will happen from time to time. It's only natural. It's only
they're still 6th, which they deserve completely. They still competing for Europe or the place in Europe again. So quite happy with Brighton. But who goes around who?
It's got to be Tacunya.
Yeah.
He won the man of the match and deservedly so. I mean, to have that mentality to, in the dying moments of the game, to just score the goal. Like, to get it on target is a huge thing because you know that all the pressures around you, the circumstances, we're bottom of the league as it currently stands, all that sort of stuff. It's huge. Big moment. Well done.
Next, moving on, Man City Southampton. Surprise of the...
Only one.
Yeah, exactly. Haaland scored in the 8th minute, something like that. 5th minute.
Yeah, and from there, it was, don't get me wrong, Man City still were the better team, but having only 1-0,
goal, yeah.
It shows yet again that without Rodri, there is so many weaknesses in this team. And speaking of Rodri, he's apparently going to win the Ballon d'Or and everything, as we mentioned earlier.
We'll see in a second. Let's see what happens.
A second and probably like an hour before they do it, because ceremonies like this always take as long as possible.
By the time we finish recording this podcast, they're still there, like speaking French. Oui, croissant. Tour Eiffel, Ballon d'Or,
cheese baguette,
Cristiano Ronaldo,
Eiffel Tower.
What were they calling the Jorginho? But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about
Weak.
the whole thing. Yeah,
They're going to
Yeah.
be dropping more points than they usually do. And obviously, Rodri is a huge player in that team. He really is. And that's why rival fans were not saying, oh, yes, we're so grateful he's injured. But we were like, ooh. Like, of course, we were a bit happy. If a team's star player gets injured and it means that they might lose matches and you're challenging with them, of course.
yeah.
So I think you look at Man City and when they go up against big teams, like what's their run in for Man City? Do we know what the next few games look like for them or anything?
Let's look at. Oh no! Wait. Matches. So next one is gonna be Tottenham. Then
Tottenham
Bournemouth.
away, that's tough for them.
Oh,
Bournemouth.
it's only the EFL.
Oh,
Cup.
never
Okay,
mind.
Bournemouth. Then Brighton away. Both both
Tottenham
Bournemouth and Brighton are
home.
away. Yeah. Then they play Tottenham at home.
And then Liverpool.
Liverpool
Tottenham
away.
Ooh.
Forest at home.
That back to back of Tottenham Liverpool will be tough. Definitely. And I think they could massively drop points. I mean, Liverpool could beat Tottenham could
I'll
beat
be happy
them.
about it. And
Yeah, I'll be happy about it because I think it's much easier to beat Liverpool in this title race than Man City.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking forward to. It'll be interesting to see what ends up happening. So,
But yeah, Haaland was still, just tapping in another goal.
yeah, it's
Fifth
just
minute.
standard for them.
And I think, yeah, they scored really early, but it was a boring match. Nothing else happened. Shout out to Southampton for only conceding them one goal. I mean,
Does Southampton still have their manager? Because I know there was like talks of the manager getting sacked, potentially. So I'm just looking to see who the manager was. Yeah, it's still the same manager, so well done. He was in doubt and everything in this result, even though it's not a win and he's not getting any points. For a team like Southampton, it's still a good result.
yeah.
Only 1-0 to City. A lot of Southampton fans, especially at the Etihad, would bite your hand off for that result. Just anything that isn't humiliating. So yeah, 100%. Well done to him.
I think the round of applause goes to
Russell Martin, the manager.
Yeah.
Which is mad
To
that
be
we're
honest,
giving
I
a
was
manager
gonna-
a round of applause for losing 1-0.
I mean, just look at the circumstances. But I was gonna give it to the whole team, how they played. But
Well
yeah,
done
let's
to the
give it to
whole
the
team,
manager
but-
because
Managers under pressure, all that sort of stuff, and to get that performance out of your players, well done. Then the last match of the Saturday,
Everton Fulham. Tough match.
Fulham was so dominant. They just absolutely dominated the entire match. And can I just say, obviously I'm biased with this, I'll be 100% honest with you. Reece Nelson. Wow. When he came
I wonder why you're biased.
100% because he's Arsenal player on loan. He came onto that pitch and he was electric. Like the commentators were waxing lyrical about him too because
Can you repeat that adjective that you just used?
electric.
I like it.
Because he just came onto the pitch and energy, live wire. He was just there on the ball, dribbling, getting past people. Honestly, I swear, those defenders on that right-hand side for Everton, I'd be having nightmares after the match.
He was electric.
Just for those 10, 15 minutes when he was on, it was just like, mate, they were just getting torn a new one down that side. And I mean, it's weird because with Everton, with Fulham, I see this style of play almost from up front. It's the ex-Arsenal boys, if I'm being honest. It's like Iwobi, Smith Rowe, they're getting a really good bit of passage in, and whoever else is on the wing for him. But the missing piece in that passing play is always Jimenez, and he has to be there because he's your number 9. He's the one who's meant to be scoring the goals. If he's not getting the ball, he's not going to score.
I remember having him on my fantasy football last season, and he did nothing. And this season, I decided not to be involved in fantasy football, and he's just being amazing.
He's done a lot better, but I think if he was more active in the play altogether, there'd be a lot different. But
yeah, it was unfortunate that Everton scored at literally the last second.
for Fulham, it was unfortunate, of course. I mean, Everton, they'll be happy because a point is important.
Yeah, I mean, look at the table now. They are 16th, which still, very dangerous. And in my opinion, still they're in danger.
I mean, something could
they're
slip,
really in danger.
but let's be real, they're 2 points off Man United and West Ham.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They are only
they're there.
5 points.
Yeah, 100%. But yet again, at the same time, if they keep on building up this form of Dominic Calvert-Lewin scoring goals, this sort of stuff, they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Same as Leicester, for example. If they keep up the form which they're on, they will also be fine.
Jamie Vardy, my guy. But yeah, who are we applauding for? Everton, Fulham.
I mean, I would very much so want to give it to Reece Nelson, but he didn't deserve it, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, but it was electric.
Either Iwobi, when he came on as a substitute, I would give it to either Iwobi or Smith Rowe, because Smith Rowe made the goal for him, but at the same time Iwobi finished it. It was a good finish, all that sort of jazz, and they were really good. It was very dominant, and then right at the end, Beto scored. No, you know what? We're not giving it to a Fulham player. Beto came on as a substitute. Everton fans dropped their heads down, were like, crap, this geezer's coming on because he's not the greatest. He scored a goal, and he was crying at full time because he was emotional that he just scored an equaliser, which shows the level of striker he is. But he did a good job. So well done to Beto. Any Everton fans out there, you're welcome. I'll stand up for you.
That's your brother?
Yeah, of course, but...
Anyway, let's look at Sunday. Sunday was really, really interesting. Let's start with Chelsea-Newcastle.
That Cole Palmer passed through to Pedro Neto. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
I don't know. I'm feeling a bit bad. I'm feeling a bit sad about Newcastle. Their form is not being on top. Like, they've lost... How many matches have they lost consecutively? Oh, not Chelsea, sorry. Let's look at Newcastle. They're 12th now. Yeah, they've lost...
2 games on the bounce.
2 games.
But I mean...
They drew with Everton.
Drew with City.
They've won against Wimbledon,
when you look
only
at it,
1-0. It's not...
They've just got Isak back from injury, and he's played the past couple of matches, not been the greatest. And they lost against a Brighton team, which Brighton isn't like a... how could you lose to Brighton? You know what I mean? So it's one of those... They're in poor form, 100%, but they're against an informed Chelsea team who are doing well and look like they probably get top 4. They're going up against a Brighton team, which is really good this season. So they've had tough matches. So it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening with them. But I just think when it comes down to Chelsea
are being unreal.
At home,
like
they just showed a proper display. Chelsea fans who struggled with it last season, they were through the trenches. I wish it lasted a little bit longer, but it seems like they're out of it.
Chelsea's been proper, not in their proper form since like. When was the last time that they won the Champions League?
2021
or 21,
something like that.
Yeah, so probably for 3 years, and so like I think they deserve what they are getting right now. Palmer is unreal. I love the boy. You disagree with me. You don't like him, but he's just so good. Such a good player.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a phenomenal footballer. I just think he's an absolute degenerate of a person. Like, you look at him, he's like, like he would drool and he wouldn't even realise it. You know what I mean?
What?
It's just, but he's a phenomenal footballer. My question just is like, how can he keep it up? Will he keep it up?
I think he will. If Chelsea keeps going like this for a couple more years and then they sell him, he will be on his prime in a big club.
What club would he go to?
Real Madrid, Barcelona, yes.
Real Madrid wouldn't take him. Barcelona wouldn't pay the money. I'm telling you that right now.
I reckon that Real Madrid would buy him.
Where would he play?
I don't know. Like, in 2 years, we don't know what's going to happen in 2 years.
Bellingham still there. Valverde there. Camavinga, Tchouameni.
We don't know what's going to happen in 2 years.
Rodrigo, Vinicius Jr., Mbappe, Endrick.
We don't know what's going to happen.
They've got a superstar team. He's never going to go there. So my
question.
question.
He might even go back to Man City if they're still a club.
Yeah.
Or Chelsea just becomes another top team once again and dominate the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those. It'll be interesting to see what ends up happening with him. Obviously, I'm there. I'll be looking. I'll be seeing what happens with him. He's a player which is like, Emperor Palpatine is saying, it's like, I'll watch your career with interest. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening with him because the player he's a phenomenal player and he's shown like levels on levels. But we've seen it time and time again with English talents, where it's like they rise to a certain like pinnacle, and especially if it's early in their career, they rise to a certain pinnacle, and then they just like nosedive.
Well, yeah, I agree with you, but
so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, I mean, he could go anywhere. Italian football is.
You wish he plays for Inter Milan.
Oh my gosh, yes, 100%. Can you imagine him and Barella? Oh.
Yeah, they'd be speaking Italian to me. Go, what? Literally, he would.
I don't care. As long as he plays and as long as he scores goals, yes, have it.
Have it, son. But yeah, I think round of applause goes for Palmer.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Goal, and really, I know he didn't get the assist, but that ball through for Pedro Neto was phenomenal. Just tore the team in half.
Let us applaud for Cole Palmer. Next one, really interesting. Crystal Palace Tottenham. 1-0.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Daniel is not biased at all, but I was really, really surprised. Really surprised.
Do you want to know something?
I want to know something. Please tell me.
Every match we've seen Crystal Palace in, they've actually performed really well. So although it looks surprising based on league table positions, if you watch Crystal Palace play, it's actually not surprising. Like, this is a result which has been coming for a long time for them. Slow burner.
But Tottenham has been playing really well, and looking at the differences between the two teams, so you would expect that not like Tottenham to lose, but maybe to like draw 1-1.
Yeah, but when we look at like a Tottenham, right, and we look at the teams who they've been playing against, so their team form, so they lost this week. They beat West Ham. West Ham have been shocking. They lost to Brighton. Then they beat Man United, beat Brentford, lost to Arsenal, lost to Newcastle, obviously beat Everton, and then drew with Leicester. When you look at the teams they've played, every team they've played who's like half decent they've lost to.
Yeah, but what about Crystal Palace? Look at their form.
Yeah, Crystal Palace, 100%. Like, their form is woeful.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
100%. However, Crystal Palace have been playing well in each match. It's not like they've been shocking in every match they've played in. It's like so close every time. It's like hitting the woodwork, like just a hair away from a result in each match. It felt like. So it's one of those really well done to them for finally getting a result over the line, because people were starting to get worried, especially with the likes of Elise going and how they're gonna deal with it.
Would it be just a one-off or next match? Who are they playing next match actually? Match is they're playing Aston Villa. No, they're playing Wolves next match because it's the EFL Cup.
They might get a result from Wolves, but Villa in the league will be tough.
Yeah, but it's the EFL Cup.
No, but I mean Villa after that, because you said they go up against Wolves and then Villa.
No, Villa, they go against them in the EFL Cup.
Oh, and then they go up against Wolves.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they'll lose against Villa, but then
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But then against Wolves, they should hopefully get a result. But Wolves are also a good team.
I wouldn't be surprised
so it's gonna be
if Wolves win it.
It'll be a good performance. It's going to be like
a match is like 6-5, something like that. It
could be.
It'll be a really enjoyable match to watch.
Palace haven't been scoring much, so it'll be interesting. It'll be a match I'll watch with great interest. But it'll be really interesting to see like
it's gonna be an electric match. What?
I hope so. Like, the back and forth should be really, really good. I mean, it's one of those. I mean, I love a Tottenham loss. I live off of them. They give me so much happiness and joy. But I just saw this and I was just like, realistically, it's Tottenham are the exact same team as last season. Feels like there's zero change. The tactics are the exact same. They
didn't have very many signings, have they? So
they sign loads of young players and they don't play them.
That's what I'm saying. Like they keep.
There needs to be, but in tactics there has to be a certain level of flexibility. If you're getting rammed on one end and you're like, okay, this team does this one same ball and this ball will tear us apart. Like let's say, for example, you do a low block in the box, but all their team can score bangers from outside the box. Let's say they have a team of Calafiori, who, like, let's say there's a team of players who can do that goal that he did against City week in, week out.
Goal of the month, by the way,
for Arsenal. It was Arsenal's
Goal
goal
of
of
the
the month.
I don't care. For me, it's the goal of the month.
Oh, I agree with you completely, but that's what ended up happening. So it'll be interesting to see. Like, sorry, back to where I actually was because I was waffling a little bit because I couldn't remember. But where I was exactly, it was if you play in a low
just
block
Tottenham
like
has
that,
been the same pretty much.
exactly. You need to be dynamic in your tactics. They play a super high line, and they're just open. So it's one of those. I just look at it and I just think, same old Tottenham, always losing.
Who
Same
are we?
old
Who are we
Tottenham,
applauding then
always
for this
losing.
match?
You know what? I think every single player in that Crystal Palace team deserves a round of applause.
Okay, so a round
The
of
entire
applause
team.
for the team Crystal Palace, also known as AFC Richmond. Last few matches, we're going to talk about West Ham, Man United. Should we open
with the news,
with the news?
we have to say the news. If Ten Hag got
Ten Hag
sacked, obviously
got
you'll know
sacked.
if you watch football. It's huge breaking news, and I have to say, obviously we'll speak about the match a little bit after because I think we should have to talk about the news. How poor is the ownership? I've said it time and time again. This is the new ownership too. In the summer, they didn't want him. They decided to stick with him, and then we passed the international break, and everyone was like, they've just got absolutely rammed before the international break. They need to sack him. They say, no, we're going to wait. Hold on.
Too much financial
win a
trouble.
match.
Yeah.
They then lose a last minute against like a penalty, which was a bit dubious, right? But we'll get to that. And then they're like, oh, now's the time we need to pull the trigger. What?
So, what I said to Daniel before actually starting, when we were talking on the phone, I think that the reason why they've done that, they haven't sacked him last match, was because I think that one kind of gave them hope. Is that, oh, actually, let's give him a last chance. I think that this match he went on the pitch. Ten Hag went on the pitch saying, if I don't win, I'm gonna get sacked, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, but my point, and a lot of other people's point will be on the situation is, but what was going to change? There was no signs of like any hope. There wasn't like things could change.
You saw how he celebrated for like a draw. Like what was the team? What was the match that he drew?
Fibonacci in the
exactly.
Europa League.
It was like yes, I got a drew. Like that mentality.
It's weak. It's weak. Man United haven't won a European game in over a year. You know that.
How
I love it.
sad.
I love it.
I am so sorry for all the Man United
Oh,
fans.
I'm not at all. They had so much time to celebrate, always being top and everything. You deserve your downfall, and I'm here for it. If you have to be sick for that, get me a hospital bed this instant. I'm ready. I'm here to watch the downfall. I'm here to enjoy it. Just like I was with Chelsea. Just how I will be with Spurs when Ange ends up leaving and it all starts going downhill like it does with every manager they have. I cannot wait. And they brought in, obviously, Ruud van Nistelrooy now.
Well, they didn't bring him in. He was already there.
But they brought him in the summer. Clearly, that was the decision which they wanted to do. They brought him in as like a safety switcher, being like, well, we got somebody at least.
But
he did a great job at PSV.
How weak of a mentality it is to bring in somebody that is a second. To have already your mind set on he's going to be our first in 10 matches or something like that. Like, do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, I think the mentality.
Just bring somebody new. Like,
I agree with you completely.
From the beginning, don't bring somebody and give another.
It's clear that they were 50-50 with Ten Hag, and I think the big thing with them was it was like, oh well, we couldn't find anyone better, so we're not going to bring anyone else in. That's not the point. The point is, if he's not the right man, you get rid of him. But you find whoever the best man is.
We've always talked about how it would be bad for. Financially, sacking Ten Hag, it will be such a great loss for Man United, which is going to be right now. But at the beginning, in the summer, why would you sign somebody else to come into the team plus Ten Hag? It's going to be more money. Why don't you save more money, sack Ten Hag, and sign somebody else from the beginning?
Because
without having two people.
I think the point is because they couldn't find the right person. They didn't want to waste the money because it'll be a lot more money if they sack both managers soon.
Right, but just hire Van Nistelrooy to be the first one anyway. And I understand he doesn't have the experience or anything, but now you're finding your team that is what's the position?
14th.
So they're 14th, and now they are having to put Van Nistelrooy as their first after 10 matches. 9 matches, not 10.
It's really, really poor, and I love it. I'll be real with you. I absolutely love it.
It just makes me angry how poorly it is.
Ruud van Nistelrooy could be a right appointment. I mean, I've said it previously on the
we-
podcast.
yeah, exactly.
I think he'll be a good interim, and if he does a good job, then fair enough. But I think they've got to be very careful, because even if he's a good interim, they have to make sure it's not an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sort of thing. They have to, because with Ole, he did a decent job and everything, but he clearly wasn't the right man to turn things around massively. He was like a good little stepping stone guy, and then you went on to Ten Hag, and now if you go on to another stepping stone guy, it's just a cycle of bringing in a manager who's poor and doesn't know what they're doing, and then the same thing happening, because people say, oh yeah, but Ten Hag was like linked with all these other jobs. None of them wanted him.
I just wonder what Ten Hag is going to do now. Like, what team are you going to manage? Are you ever going to manage again?
He'll go back to
but,
Netherlands
like,
probably. He might manage Ajax, might win a league with them. Then he might go off to like another team in Europe, for
I
example.
bloody hope he's not coming to Italy.
Oh, that I could see him in Italy.
That's the problem.
AC Milan. They're a train wreck.
AC Milan, yes.
I could see him as an AC
Have
Milan
it.
manager.
But
I could genuinely see it with how they're going at the moment.
But Inter Milan, no, actually, if he comes to Inter Milan,
yeah, you might as well just take the shirt off and just like go home and cry for a week.
For a year.
Until he's gone.
Until he's gone, yeah. No, but, well, we're not going to talk about Italian football because Daniel doesn't like it when I talk about Italian football.
I mean,
he doesn't understand it. That's fine.
It's just not as good as the Prem.
Yeah, it is. But anyway. No, I think overall.
But in the match, United played well and everything, but it doesn't matter how well you play, you have to get the result. And
yeah, at the end of the day, a win is a win.
And with the penalty, it's a bit soft. Have you seen the penalty?
Yes.
Soft. Do you think it's a penalty?
I can't tell you.
I think it's a bit borderline.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong.
I don't want to take a stance on this. Like, I'm just refs are being crap anyway. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just not gonna care about it.
My biggest issue with it is some refs wouldn't have given it. You know what I mean? And
that's the thing. And then you have the argument of, oh, that should have been a penalty. But now that they've given it, you look at it and you're like, should have? We don't know.
Because don't get me wrong, I think De Ligt kind of goes in a bit recklessly. Like, he just kind of flies in at Danny Ings. And it's like, that's a bit dumb, isn't it? Because, like, he's in the penalty box. He's, like, already miscontrolling the ball. And is Danny Ings going to be the one who scores? Probably not. Like, an old, like, feels like 50-year-old Danny Ings.
So pretty much it was De Ligt's fault that.
I would say so, but you could say it was like a coming together sort of thing. Like, it wasn't enough for it to be a penalty, which is like very much so on that threshold, I think. But one of my most annoying things is Man United will get an apology about it from VAR, but with all the other issues clubs get, they don't get apologies. But because it's Man United, they get an apology. It's ridiculous. I get furious about it. But well done to West Ham. They got a result. They needed a result. And what a better team to get against than Man United. Anyone who goes up against them, obviously now they've got a new manager bounce. They might be good for a few games, maybe even until the end of the season. Who knows? But it's a huge one. It's a huge one. We'll have to see what happens with Man United, especially with Ruud van Nistelrooy next match against Chelsea.
Yeah, I'll be really
at Old Trafford.
That's what I'm looking forward to next week. It's gonna be really interesting.
Honestly, I've been on the other end of a new manager bounce at Man United. I remember when what's it called? Michael Carrick took over as interim manager. He beat Arsenal. I was worried because I was like, crap, I really wanted to go up against Ole. And then they sacked him and I was like, crap, we're next at Old Trafford, and we lost. But they're a very good. There's good players in that squad.
You're talking about Man United, right?
Yeah,
okay.
But I think it's difficult because you look at a Marcus Rashford, massive form player, but he's a huge player for the club. Look at Garnacho, who's obviously at the Ballon d'Or ceremony tonight. He's a huge player for the club, and you've got to make all of them sing the same tune. I don't think it's an impossible job. I just think you need a good manager for it.
No, and again, I think what we've seen so far with Man United, it's only been the manager's fault. The players are good players. Take them on their own, individually. they're good players. You could put them in any team, not in any team, but like in a different team.
I say, look at Enzo Maresca. Genuinely, it's weird because I don't like talking up so much an opposition manager, but I've got a lot of respect for Enzo Maresca. He came into that Chelsea squad. There's about 50 different players or whatever, and he said to the ones which he genuinely didn't think were good enough, bye, you're off. You know what I mean? He was brutal with it. That's what a Man United manager needs to do. He needs to come in. If he doesn't want Rashford to play for his team, if he doesn't back Rashford...
But Rashford should play for the team because he's...
That's in itself a debate. Because I think for Rashford, he's a form player and he only turns up when he wants to. So if you're a manager who knows you can get the best out of him, go for it 100%. Like, I'd put it this way. Rashford, I would be okay with Rashford at Arsenal because I believe that my manager can get the best out of players.
Yeah, you got a few forwards that you can
at
play.
Man City, they'd want to stay away from him with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
Because Pep Guardiola doesn't need to go to a player or doesn't have to or doesn't really go up to a player and is like, it's okay, buddy, you're really good. I hope you know that. You're really good. You play really well at the weekend. Well,
get out.
He's just like, I'm not being funny. If you don't want to play, you can go. And with Arteta, he's very much so like more on it with the players and everything. Obviously, there's certain players who he doesn't like, who he's got rid of and stuff like that. But that's what a manager has to do. So I want to see the next manager come in and be a bit brutal. Get rid of some of the players he does not want there. Just say, yeah, you're gone. Either we'll terminate your contract or whatever. But Ineos is trying to cut a lot of corners to save money, which makes me think, what's going on financially there? Have they spent too much money and are they in trouble? Because did you hear what they said for the Ballon d'Or?
No. Oh, they
wanted to share the plane.
Yeah. I heard
that's bad. That's embarrassing.
Can you imagine?
That's embarrassing.
Can you imagine something like that?
Oh yeah, calling up your closest rivals and being like, by the way, can we just
can we have
two
players
plane
come with you?
Just because we want to save some money? Hell no, man. Hell to the no. So I just
it would just be so embarrassing.
So I mean, it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening. But did you see the Dalot miss?
Yeah.
How? Open net. Skies it. How?
Yeah, I mean, but it happens. Every time that something like this happens, I feel like, who's under pressure? There's nothing you can do now about it.
But
even the best players...
My point is, though, for Man United, you need players who are reliable. And
either right now,
either the manager needs to make those players feel reliable, or the players have to take it upon themselves. And I think a team like Manchester United, at the moment, the manager has to do that, which is why Ten Hag's been sacked.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, the players have been too much in a... I don't want to say toxic environment, but it's a toxic environment.
I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say it.
I don't want to be racist or anything, but... yeah, it's... Yeah. I hope things are going to change. Yeah.
I just can't wait to see it all just go to pot.
Who are we giving a round of applause for? West Ham, Man United?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Obviously, Bowen scored. We got Somerville who scored. Let's look at I want to give it to a West Ham player. I couldn't care less about the level of play, about how Man United were the better team or whatever. I want to see what the players were like. Apparently, the best two were Man United players. Yeah, right.
Casemiro, yeah. And
they gave it to Jared Bowen. Oh, Fabianski did well. He made several good saves, apparently. So, you know what? We'll give it to Lucas Fabianski, ex-Arsenal player.
Okay. Right, last but not least, Arsenal-Liverpool. I'll be honest, I enjoyed the match. It was a good match. Looking at it in a holistic way of how Arsenal has been playing, how Liverpool has been playing, good match from both sides. But referees,
again, they ruined it. We needed a penalty because it was a penalty. Did you hear what they said about that penalty?
Which one? The
one with Canate just 2 foots Martinelli. They said, you got the ball. Because they looked at it from one angle. I'm not being funny. VAR have to look at it from several angles whenever there's a penalty shout.
When Arsenal as well, when Arsenal scored the second goal,
we'll go for the first one first.
Okay.
We'll go for the first one first. So, with that, it was a clear penalty. And when you watch it back from the first angle, which they showed on TV, I was like, oh, to be fair, yeah, it looks like Konate's got the ball. You look at it from every other angle, it's clear Trent got the ball. Konate just takes him out. That's a penalty then. Like, what?
I don't know what VAR is doing in general. Like, I don't know what the actual purpose
genuinely, it makes me feel like Arsenal are targets.
It was hilarious. We were watching the match, and it was it was me, Adam, Robert, and Pine, and literally in 20 seconds we figured out what it was, and it took them 5 minutes, and then we were like, we can just go there and do it on our own. Like,
I mean,
and you know what? Robert said something really interesting. Actually, he was saying that he thinks that the people that are doing the decisions at the VAR are scared to make the decision because there's so much at stake. They don't want to take too much responsibility.
Do you want to know something?
And I agree with that.
I couldn't care less, mate. My old PE teacher, Michael Salisbury, he was in the VAR room.
If you're watching this,
he was the head VAR person. My old PE teacher.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
Well,
he
you should
was.
have told me.
I was raging because I was like, "You rat, mate. You might have let me have a kickabout on the AstroTurf and everything, right?" But I couldn't care less. Honestly, I'm very unhappy with him.
Wait, sorry. What's happening at the Ballon d'Or right now?
There's some weird like break dancer on stage because they have like a little intermission bit. But for me, I just look at it and I think for that first goal, my issue isn't with VAR for that because it takes time.
The fine. The second goal.
Well, no, I mean the second goal. Sorry, the second goal. It takes time with those things because the Premier League clubs were given the option for automated offside, and they said no. Why did you say no to something which speeds the game up, which makes it easier? Because every team thinks, oh, well, what if we get an offside goal? We want to keep it. But what if one happens against you, you muppets? You know what I mean? Like, you slap. Like, just give them a slap. You got to think about the fans. Sometimes, I think, when making new rule decisions, don't ask the clubs. Look at the fans. Just look at the fans. Like, think what's best for them. You don't need to run it by all the clubs. Obviously, I know they technically do, but it's ridiculous. Silly. But Stonewall penalty, because it is.
Yes.
It's like the most obvious thing. If that happens to Arsenal, he gets a yellow card, and the entire after the match is saying, it's like, oh, it's silly, it's so stupid from him. But it just infuriates me because since it's Arsenal and we're such a huge club, because this is all that it makes me think is the more hate we get, the bigger we are. It's ridiculous.
It is indeed, and I agree with you. It's just ruining it every week. There's something not just against Arsenal, but against all the teams. Like, you want to see something happening, and they're just like, oh, come on, once again. So hopefully it's going to be 2035 when we actually get these. And
then Havertz 90th minute. We need to address this. Havertz 90th minute. Kivior wins a header, which is clean. Not a single Liverpool player even claims for it to be a foul. Havertz wins a header, turns around, flicks the ball over the keeper as the ball's going towards goal, and it obviously hit off the woodwork at that point, so it might have went in. The referee then blows the whistle. Disgraceful. Referees, specifically, we've seen it with offsides, with everything, with fouls, they wait so they can get the help from VAR. If anyone can show me where a genuine foul is in that, I will say fair play to you.
Right, so if your professor or your teacher is watching this...
Oh, if Mr. Salisbury's watching this, I'd love you to show it me because you're a clown. You're an absolute muppet. He was always a quiet
Just so you know, guys, you that are watching the podcast, every time we see him on TV and he's like, oh, he was my PE teacher. And now...
Yeah. Honestly, I just look at it and I just think it was ridiculous because let VAR have, like, okay, VAR, if you say, oh, I'm not sure, but I think there was a foul there, can you show it me on the monitor? VAR can call you over and just show you all the angles on the monitor. And then you know for sure, is this a goal, is this not a goal?
All right, the angles that they show us on TV from VAR are shocking. When they looked at Merino's goal, that angle that showed that it was an offside, it was awful.
It was a
awful.
terrible angle.
Like, they were trying to figure out for 5 minutes where the line was.
Yeah.
And again, in 20 seconds, 4 men that were just watching on TV, we figured out where the line was.
Yeah, but at the same time...
And it just... You know, like, the Premier League spends so much money for all this equipment to have VAR and amazing technology that can help people to.
We need automated offsides. Look at El Clasico. Mbappe scored 2 offside goals. Yeah, offside. And then on TV, just like how they do in Champions League, they show you literally the animation of how much he was offside by. Was it his knee? Was it his waist? You can see it perfectly, and you're like, yeah, fair enough. That's 100% legit.
But we don't have it in England.
We don't have it in England because the clubs decide not to, and it shags people over, and all it does is it makes it worse for the fans. Because in a stadium, the fans are there like, what's happening? They don't get any communication.
I think
on TV, we get to see it, but they don't see it in a stadium. They say, VAR check, they have no idea.
Yeah. I think we should start watching La Liga then.
No. But,
But yeah, fair play to Liverpool. I mean, Arsenal lost 2 defenders halfway through. And it's a bit, I'm in danger.
I watched it with my brother, who's he's a Liverpool supporter. And I was there and I was just like, oh, well done. You managed to score your second goal against... So you had an £80 million striker who's a flop, managed to dribble past an 18-year-old left back because our left back got injured.
Wait. Are you calling Salah a flop?
It wasn't Salah who dribbled past him, it was Darwizzi.
Sorry, I just clocked in right now. I was like...
So he managed to run past him, and then you had somebody beat Jakub Kivior. Well done. You know what I mean? The 2 players who replaced... It's like, don't get me wrong, Lewis Skelly, I like him, he's a young kid and everything, but he's going to get a dribble past occasionally. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And we had 2 injuries on top of our whole issues with our defence and everything. Honestly.
Hopefully they're not serious injuries.
Seething. Because it's so frustrating because Liverpool will look at it and they'll be like... I've heard some people say, well, Arsenal just don't have the depth, do they?
No, they do. They just get all the players injured. I'm so sorry to say that, but it's just it's frustrating.
People say, oh yeah, but Arsenal were only missing Ødegaard and then Saliba, and Saliba was because of that, so it's not even injury. And I was like, I'm not being funny though, but out of that back line, and because the red card was unjust, right? It just was.
Now Calafiori is not in.
There was a change of 2 players in the back line, potentially. There would have been a positional change too, because would Calafiori have started left back? Does that mean Timber starts right back? And then obviously Saliba would be centre back. If not, it'd be Ben White at right back sort of thing.
Yeah.
So there's that. Then you look at the midfield. Would Mourinho have started? Probably not.
No.
Because at the moment he's not been the greatest, which might take that goal away completely. But we have Ødegaard playing in there instead. When you look at the front 3, Saka just came back from injury, so he wasn't at his best, and he still scored a banger.
You know what was funny? We're watching the match, and Pa was like, I can see the Saka's he's just come back from injury. He's not playing 100%. 30 seconds after he scores a banging goal, I was like, what the hell did you say? It was hilarious.
It's one of those, Saka's such a good player.
I think we should give him an applause for this match.
I will be. Don't you worry about that sweet thing. But he just came back from injury. He's at 30-40% as far as fitness goes. He didn't train with the team before the match, and he turns up against Liverpool and just F it, I'm Bukayo Saka.
I'll do whatever I want, score, and it was an amazing goal.
Beautiful.
That run and then
sit down, Andy Robertson, you little Scottish rodent. I hate him. I realised this. I was saying during the match.
Scottish players. I
actually don't. I like Scott McTominay. I genuinely do. I like Billy Gilmore
because he just moved to Napoli.
No, I liked him when he played for United. I think with Scottish players it's a 50-50 because sometimes they're just gobby rats, and it's 50-50 as if they are.
It's because they're gingers, aren't they? But you're ginger too, so.
John McGinn ain't ginger.
Yeah, but in general,
No, it's just one of those. It is what it is, but I hate Andy Robertson, and most people will agree with me. If you don't support Liverpool, you hate him because he's one of those gobby players. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
So I loved it, but I mean, I look at that match and I just think the referee, what's he doing blowing the whistle when he sees it almost going for Arsenal? Just be smart for a second and just let VAR take over. Because if you say to VAR, I think it's a foul in the build-up, but I just need you to let me know. VAR usually back their boys anyway. So if he says, I think it's a foul, they'll probably say, yeah, go for it. But if anyone can show me where the foul is, I would love you to. Because there's no foul.
So let's start a petition for this to be raised and show Daniel where the foul is.
Because Jakub Kivior jumps. He wins the ball cleanly. Because if any player gets fouled, we know they go straight down to the ground. Let's not joke around here. Szoboszlai stands back up. He's just watching as it all happens. He looks unfazed. Nothing changes. Nothing's happened. Then, let's have a look at Konate. Yes, Havertz jumps. And you can say his elbow or arm goes in his face. That's what happens when you jump for a ball, you mong. You know what I mean? Like, watch any header in the Premier League and they always do that motion with their arms. It's not a foul. He wins the ball. And it was called back for the Jakub Kivior one. Not for Havertz. It was called back for Kivior. So Havertz didn't commit a foul. Then I heard some people trying to say, but it was a handball by Havertz. Hit me here. Are you okay in the head? Are you okay in the head?
Yeah.
So it's like, hit him on the chest and went over. Okay, so that's fine. He flicks it over the goalkeeper. That's beautiful. Why is it not a goal? And that would have been Jesus' first goal of the season. It would have been.
Yeah.
So
I'm not disagreeing with you.
It would have been nice to give him a bit of confidence or something like that. Even if it's happened, it's like that can kickstart players sometimes. I'm not saying that's what was going to happen with Jesus, but
it would have been nice.
Referees, honestly, Liverpool's best man that match. And I'm sorry because I do have a lot of respect for Liverpool. If you watch the podcast, you hear me talk about Arne Slot a lot. I really do like him. But their best man on the day was the ref. He was the best player in that Liverpool squad. Stopped a goal. Stopped a penalty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't disagree.
If the goalkeeper saves a pen,
like
then
both Virgil van Dijk and Salah that scored, they played an okay match, but still not at the level that they should have played. So yeah, I agree with you, Daniel. But let's give a round of applause to Saka because I mean, who else?
He's so good. He's so good. He's my star boy. Honestly, I said it to my brother straight away. As soon as Saka scored, I was like, "Where's Salah? Where is he?" Like, don't get me wrong, Salah's a phenomenal player. I'm not trying to disrespect Salah in that way because I think he is disrespected by a lot of people. But Bukayo Saka is him. He is.
Let's give him a round of applause then.
No Odegaard, no problem. Genuinely.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to next week to see what will happen with Manchester United. That's literally the only thing I'm waiting for. And they play on Sunday.
Yeah, against Chelsea.
So it's just going to be really, really interesting. Really, really interesting. But I'm looking forward to it.
But to be fair, respect to Arne Slot. He's a good manager. He's good with his team and everything. I think obviously Liverpool had to play the way that they played. And in my opinion, don't get me wrong, I think some people are underplaying them a bit now because I've heard some Arsenal fans say, yeah, but we were a weakened team and everything. They're not really title contenders. No, you are. You have to put yourself down as it now. You beat Chelsea. You drew against Arsenal at the Emirates. You're a title contender. You've got to live with that now.
Yeah.
Those are the expectations. And we want to make you guys on equal ground to the likes of an Arsenal and a Man City. When you lose a match, bottled it, question mark. That's what we get. That's what they need to be getting to. Because last season, all I heard was Arsenal bottled the league. What about Liverpool? Liverpool bottled it way more than we did. We took it to the last game. That's not bottling it.
Yeah.
As soon as Arsenal lose, it's labelled a bottle, and that's because it's funny or whatever. So fair play to you. But we need to hold Liverpool up to some standards here now because they're title challengers. And this is not us saying Arne Slot will be terrible if they don't win because he's done a great job to have them as title challengers in the first place. That's, in my opinion, an overachievement. But now they have to be held to that standard. They're second in the league. We need to see what happens.
Have it.
Can they beat Man City and Arsenal to that title? I personally think no, because I genuinely think, even with all this, Arsenal will win.
I agree. I'm still on the same page as you.
We got our injuries. We're not too far behind.
I think that in about 7 matches, it's probably going to be like, that's how it's going to go. Like, shaping for real.
Yeah, because Odegaard's going to be back in the next couple of matches.
After Christmas, yeah. After Christmas.
I think Calafiori won't be out for long because apparently the knee injury isn't that bad.
No. I hope not. My boy.
Yeah, so he was walking before the match to pick up his award and everything. So if it was a severe knee injury, he wouldn't be walking, he'd be in crutches.
Yeah.
So he should be back soon, hopefully. Obviously, Sleeper's back now because it was only a 1-match suspension. So backlines should be okay-ish. But Gabriel's out. obviously Timber came off with
How long is he going to be out for?
we don't know. It seemed
Yeah.
like it seemed like a knee injury apparently, so it
Not
could
a
be out for a
major-
long time. But we've got Timber who can play there. We've got Calafiori who can play there too. We've got Ben
Yes.
White. We've still got a solid back line if everyone gets back from injury in time. So it's one of those. It's 100% realistic that we can still win the league. And I think with Bukayo Saka, what a player he is, man. No Ødegaard, no problem with Saka there. Like, my whole thing for this match was why I was so scared before it was. I was like, we've got Martinelli needs to turn up, and he didn't in this match. He was very, very poor in my
Yeah.
opinion. Like, I thought this is Martinelli's time to shine. He usually does well against Liverpool.
Honestly, it was so frustrating. Like
Every
just
touch
run,
was poor.
run. Like, you know,
He was up against
just drive
Canate for
it.
most
No,
of it.
he stops and then he passes it
Well,
back.
it
like,
was no. It was
why,
when he was
why are you getting so?
when he was
anxious
trying to
about it?
drive though. He was losing it every time because he was going up against Canate.
It was,
and Canate,
it was hilarious.
body.
It was
If not,
hilarious.
he just
Like,
couldn't touch
there was,
it properly.
There was a
and Canate
moment.
wins it.
There was a moment when he was literally running towards Canate, and then he literally goes left, and like,
Yeah, but
just to avoid him.
But that might be the tactic which they're going for. Whip it into what's it called?
No, but my point is that Martinelli was just avoiding him. He was not even having like,
Low
any kind of-
confidence. You can see like what's happened to Martinelli, and that's a real issue for me because you need him to be firing off too. But we'll see what happens because once we get everyone back, I think Trossard will be starting on the left over Martinelli for a little bit at least.
I hope so.
But it's one of those. It's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you guys for watching us again.
Thank you.
It's been great so far. 10 episodes.
Yeah, it's been fun to do. Obviously, me and Giorgio, we do this for fun. At the end of the day, we enjoy talking about football for a bit, and a bit of like hangout and stuff. So
But hopefully we'll become famous at some point.
I mean, to be fair, it's just something which we do for fun. At the end of the day, obviously that would be lovely if it gets big or whatever. But at the end of the day, we do
just
this
do it for the money.
We do it for fun. We do it for fun.
Yeah, no.
So
But anyway, again, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, notifications on.
follow the
us.
Instagram. Make sure you
Yes.
stay up to date on when we upload because every time we upload, we understand the algorithm. We're a small channel. We might not pop up for you immediately. So make sure on the Instagram, we post on the story. We post each week when we upload. Edits made by yours truly. Not super fancy or anything like that. But it'll just tell you it's the upload. Little picture of me and Giorgio, just
Yes,
like the
indeed.
thumbnail. So
But again, guys, we'll see you next week. And hopefully you have a good rest of the weekend. Hopefully.
yeah, have fun. We'll see you next week.